Yo, hold on, let me make sure. Might turn this off real quick. Let's see here. I don't want too much brightness on my face, but I guess the ring light is enough. The ring camera. But it is Yeet Night. That's besides the point. We were talking about Better Call Saul right here on the channel. Let me see if my mic is working. Yes, it is. Welcome back to another video. It is GZTV. I'm going to be talking about this. The Rams game's going on right now, but I figured I'd come in here and get this video out. So let's go through the plot. Let's go through the critical reception. You guys get the gist. The opening and the main story obviously is very prevalent in Better Call Saul. I'm taking an L in computing just so I can hop on here, make a video, and enjoy myself. So, oh my god, it's the most stressful class in the damn world. You guys see Jesus in the background. I didn't realize the camera showed that. That's actually sick. The vinyls above me aren't really showing that much. But look, I'd have to do this to get my GZTV sign to show. But, yeah. In a flash forward, Gene has lunch at the Omaha Mall where he manages a Cinnabon, so obviously where he's left off after the Breaking Bad storyline, and that's going to be further explored throughout this show in the last 3 or 4 episodes if I don't recall. That's when they started getting Breaking Bad into the show. He reluctantly points out a hiding shoplifter to police, but yells to the shoplifter to remain silent and hire a lawyer, and in typical Saul fashion, go get a lawyer. I've worked in the law business most of my life. About probably 70% of my life I've been in the law business, in the law industry. Get you a lawyer. I ratted you out because that's because I want someone to gain a new client out of you, and I'm doing this for the love of law. And I think that's kind of his purpose. I think that's kind of what I interpreted it as. I thought he was a snitch at first, but then he's like, get a lawyer. That kind of covered it up and explained it. And it's really cool to get these flash forwards. I feel like we're going to get these at the beginning of every season. If I'm not mistaken, season 1 and season 2 had this same type of opening with the flash forward. But let's get into the main story. Picking up right where we left off at the finale of season 2, a crazy cliffhanger. We're going to start seeing some crazy storylines kind of unfold in season 3. Jimmy tells Howard that Chuck is not resigning from HHM. He did that in the last episode. He helps Chuck remove the foil from his walls and finds a copy of The Adventures of Mabel, which is what this episode is named after. A book that the brothers read together during their youth, kind of trying to have a brother bond moment. Trying to kind of sugarcoat what's going on and that he just committed to a felony. Chuck kind of brought up that fact to him. Sorry if there's a background noise. I'm watching a football game. I'm going to get right back to it after this, but yeah. By the way, we are going to be doing some NFL, this week in the NFL videos, so stay tuned for that. Monday nights, every Monday night we're going to be having this. It's going to be awesome. I cannot wait. I'm so happy football is back. But anyways, Jimmy tries to reminisce, but Chuck says he will not forget the fraud. Jimmy committed to steal the Mesa Verde account for Kim. He's kind of turning into this blunt person with good reason, justifiably. He's like, you're not getting away with this. You are going to face the consequences. Captain Bauer confronts Jimmy about fraudulently entering the Air Force Base and threatens to press charges if Jimmy does not pull his commercial off the air. So things are kind of exploding in Jimmy's face at this point. People that he has frauded are coming up to him and making it known that consequences are going to happen. There's 2 or 3 threats that are facing Jimmy, and what's going to happen in season 3 is how he's going to deal with that. And he's going to turn into this Saul Goodman. I feel like this is where he's going to have to resort to Saul Goodman out of desperation because he doesn't want his ego to be torched by the media. Yeah. Jimmy, what is that smell? Okay. None. Wash my hands. They smell weird. I don't know. It's not a bad smell. It's just a weird smell. Jimmy momentarily cracks because Bauer's arguments sound like ones Chuck would make, but is ultimately unmoved. It kind of reminds him of Chuck, but he's like, look, get out of my office, and he kind of gets it off breezily, which isn't really that realistic, but I think Jimmy is good with his words, which is why he's in the law industry, but still, I don't know. I don't think he's going to get away with this. He shouldn't be getting away with this. It's my hands that smell like that. It's kind of gross. I don't know what's going on. I need to go wash my hands in a little bit. Chuck. Dude, I'm tripping. Chuck plays Jimmy's confession to Howard, who questions its value since it will not make Mesa Verde return to HHM, and the way it was elicited prevents using it in court, but Chuck assures him the recording has a use, and that's kind of in the air for the episode. We're going to find out in future episodes what Chuck plans to do with his recording of his brother confessing to a fraud. And Howard brings up some good points. They're not going to come back to HHM because that was a fraud. You can't return to a firm that you have to wait 6 years to have a hearing for. Yeah, it's not happening. Chuck later asks Ernesto to change the recorder's batteries, and Ernesto hears part of the recording. So at this point, you're like, okay, Chuck and Jimmy are going to fall out because I think this whole feud, because I think Ernesto's going to warn Jimmy about it. Jimmy's going to sneak into Chuck's house, destroy the tape recorder. That's kind of what I'm inferring. That's kind of what I'm predicting to happen. Chuck compels Ernesto to promise not to repeat what he heard. This is really bad for Chuck. He really messed up here because it was facing down. Ernesto was pressing the battery in, and all of a sudden, boom, you hear the segment where you changed the numbers, you frauded them. The word fraud was in there, so yeah. Anyways, let's move on to Mike's situation because, again, there's multiple storylines in this show. It's multidimensional. Mike drives away from the location where he tried to kill Hector and unsuccessfully checks his car for a tracking device. He takes it to the junkyard, he breaks it apart, and he has this older car. And he gets a new car. It's pretty dope. He gets a new car, and it's the car that he uses in Breaking Bad, so that's really dope. That Breaking Bad storylines are starting to kind of peek in, although very minor ones. It's really dope and beautiful to see that. Certain he was followed, he completely dismantles the station wagon he was driving at a local junkyard but finds nothing. While looking at a sales display of gas caps, he has an epiphany and takes apart the one from the station wagon where he finds a battery-operated tracker. So he looked everywhere, didn't check the gas cap, was looking in kind of the junkyard store. He's like, oh my goodness, they could have done that. That's crazy. And he kind of matched things up, and yeah, Mike is a very smart guy. He's not going to be getting tracked for long. And there's a lot of people getting tracked in the Breaking Bad universe. It's definitely interesting, and Mike catches on to it very quickly. After finding the tracking device, Mike obtains an identical one from Dr. Caldera, studies its functions, and discovers it remotely warns the operator when the battery runs low. Kind of his experiments he was doing were confusing me at first. I was kind of interested in why he was doing it. It kind of made sense in the end. I don't know, it's still a bit of a fuzzy storyline. I'm sure it's badass, and I'm sure it's in the masterful mind of Mike, but yeah. He replaces the tracker and the gas cap of his sedan with a new one, drains the battery of the one he took from his sedan, and stays awake all night to watch the sedan. He's a watcher. He watches all night for things. He's very paranoid. He's got eyes in the back of his head. He's a very smart fella. Let me just say that. In the early morning, someone arrives to change the tracker in a sedan for one with a fresh battery. Because the man who replaced the tracker is actually carrying the one Mike placed on his car, Mike is able to follow. Now I understand. So you replace the battery with new battery, the new tracker, and Mike put a shitty one on there, or the one he bought on there, and it's tracking him. So Mike knows where this guy is. It discloses his location. That's the cliffhanger. Mike's probably going to have some confrontation with these guys soon. The episode received acclaim from critics, 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, 8.67 out of 10. You guys know Rotten Tomatoes absolutely adores this show. I do too. I think the cliffhangers lately have been hitting pretty different. I mean, I think they've been pretty fucking fantastic, if I say so myself. Odenkirk and Banks carry their respective portions of Mabel with ease and innuendo in an episode that enlivens its familiar aesthetic with a peppier than normal pace. I'm not really sure what that means. That's kind of the consensus on the Rotten Tomatoes page, but I don't have much to say. I'm gonna play some Madden, kind of chill out for tonight. I might work on a little bit more homework, but dude, I don't know. I'm not really feeling good about it. I'm not enjoying myself. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I know you gotta go through stuff in college, but there is a possibility I would say a very small possibility that we record the Yeet album reaction tonight, but it might be tomorrow. Yeet and Nav edited reactions are going to be on the channel. Maybe Saturday night we'll have a New Music Friday stream.